number one thing you find out about a person when you date. Like, what do you believe? What's important to you? What do you value? What facts do you trust? Find out, do you want to have children? Do you want to be married? And that's another reason why I tell women, don't have sex with a man before you have a commitment. A high value man isn't threatened by a strong woman, a competent woman, a feminine woman, but he honors that. And
What about boundaries? Are they necessary, healthy, and needed for
yes,
both men and women?
yes, absolutely. Because your boundaries basically depict who you are, like what's important to you, what you value, what's okay, not okay, physical boundaries, who can touch you when, how,
Mhm.
that you need to know what's a non-negotiable for you. Like when you first meet someone, you need to find out where they're headed, where they're going, what's their purpose, what are they passionate about, what do they believe. Like
Mhm.
I have girlfriends who will say, oh yeah, I met this guy, went on this date and everything, and they'll tell me all about it, and I go, is he a Christian? And they go, oh. I'm like, and I just am like, wouldn't that be the first thing you would ask? Like,
Mhm.
you connect at values. If you don't value the same beliefs,
Right,
it's not going to work. It's
right.
not going to work. If you connect at purpose, if you're not both headed in the same direction, you have very similar likes and dislikes,
Mhm.
you're not going to be compatible. And so I just think that's so funny to me that that should be the number one thing you find out about a person when you date. Like, what do you believe? What's important to you? What do you value?
Mhm.
What for a man, what facts do you trust? And same for a man, find out, do you want to have children? Do you want to be married?
Mhm.
Because why waste your time if you're not, but if you don't both want the same things? Like, and I always tell women, especially women who have not had children yet, that are, in their 20s and 30s and still want to make a family. If you are dating a man who's been married and divorced and has children,
Mhm.
and he's saying, I'm not going to have any more kids, you need to believe him. But what women do, they think they can change the man's mind. Oh, he'll change his mind after he falls desperately in love with me. He's going to want to have my babies too. And I hear more situations where the man will say, I told her from the get go, I didn't want kids. And now she's upset. And now they're going to get a divorce. It's like, why would you think you could change his mind? But women do. They
Mhm.
think they can change men, which I think is like a major illness in women. But and so I just say, believe him. So yes, I think you need to have boundaries. I think you need to know about emotional boundaries, spiritual boundaries, mental boundaries, physical boundaries. If you never read the book by is it Trent and no Townsend and somebody called Boundaries?
Okay.
And there's boundaries. There's boundaries in marriage, boundaries in dating, boundaries in child rearing. They're all different books. You got to learn about boundaries. It's very, very important. And it's not to build walls to keep people out.
Mhm.
It's like a gate. Here's
Right.
what's okay, but who's can come in, who can't. Yes. And you need to talk about your deal breakers straight up when you're first dating. What's a deal breaker for you?
Mhm.
What's a non-negotiable for you? For some, it might be like for the woman, hey, if you're going to watch porn, that's a deal breaker for me.
Okay.
I'm not okay with that. Or, whatever it is. If you're going to drink like that or smoke like that or cuss like that, whatever it is, you just need to decide what works for you and what doesn't. And both men and women need to have that conversation for sure.
Is it okay for people who are dating to test each other for to see and seek so many different behaviors they may show us?
I don't know that I would purposely
Okay.
try to cause a situation that would test them. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think the attitude should be like, I'm going to see if I can trip them up. You know what I mean? Because I think that would kind of get into game playing. I
Mhm.
just think you're being who your real self is. You're being your most authentic self.
Mhm.
And you're not trying to just be pleasing and adaptable to make sure
Okay.
that they like you. You're speaking your truth and being your most authentic self. And then you see how they deal with it.
Okay.
How do they deal that I came out with no makeup on?
Mm.
How does he like me with no makeup? How does he like me when my hair isn't all perfect and I'm sweating, I'm in my gym clothes, and
Mhm.
like, just watch, like, you're just living your life the way you want to live it, and see how they fit into your life, how they respond
Mhm.
to who you are, your personality, your decision making, your hopes, your dreams, what makes you laugh, what you think is funny. Like, do you have things in common? Do you like doing similar things? And I would just those are the kinds of signs I would be watching for. I wouldn't be trying
Okay.
to test them necessarily. I don't know if that's fair, but it's my
Well,
opinion.
yeah, that's right. That's right. And the best is the communication. Just the proper communication.
Yes.
We communicate our boundaries, communicate everything we
Right.
like. We want to listen what they like, what they would like to have. And who do you think is crossing and disrespecting the boundaries more often, men or women?
I don't know. I think I would have to, it depends on who they are, the couple. I
Okay.
mean, yes, I probably hear women more or less say, I said I'm not going to have sex with him until we're committed, till there's a ring on my finger, or we're married, or whatever. And a man will keep trying. But I think that's normal for a man. I
Right.
think a normal, healthy man should be wanting to have sex with you. Now it's your responsibility to say no. Now, if he is angry and mad and is, calling you names because you won't give it up,
Mhm.
that's a problem.
Right.
He's not respecting you.
Right.
But a man that wants you and is falling in love with you and is physically and emotionally attracted to you, I think he will do whatever it takes to get you. And if that means wait till marriage for sex, he'll be happy to do that.
Mhm.
He'll be happy to do that because that is something that's important to you.
Right.
And most men, healthy men, fall in love with a virtuous woman. They fall in love with a woman that has those kinds of boundaries. Because if you say no to him, that means you're saying no to other guys that you date. And I think men respect that and honor that.
Okay.
But I think it's natural and normal for him to want to. You know?
Well, he
Yeah.
wouldn't be a man.
Right. If you're dating a guy, he doesn't even want to touch you or kiss you. I I think that could be a problem. Like, he hasn't even desired you. Like, that's natural. So you just have to be
Right.
a smart woman and, just be careful that you're not dressing too sensual around him because you don't want to cause him to stumble, but yeah.
How do you define high value woman and high value man?
Okay, so I did make a list of them. Let me see if I remember. I don't know that I will say it exactly, but
Mhm.
if you look at my reels, I have done that. And I've done a podcast on both. So I think a high value woman is a woman who has healthy self esteem.
Mhm.
Okay. And we all have to work on self esteem. Self esteem comes from how you were raised, notably.
Right.
But then you also build self esteem in yourself when you do good things, when you do things that you feel proud of, it's like you earn self-esteem. When you make bad decisions and you do things that are not right, whether it's you tell a lie or you're, whatever, you're dishonest or you steal or, those kinds of things are going to chip away at your self-esteem because
Mhm.
it's wrong and you're doing it anyway.
Mhm.
So I think a woman with healthy self-esteem doesn't mean she has to have perfect self-esteem. And when I say self-esteem, we could say self-value, self-love, self-respect, however you want to say it. I think a high value woman is a woman who dresses classy,
Mhm.
modestly, still can be very sexy, but she knows that she doesn't have to show all her skin to
Right.
attract a man. I think that's a healthy minded woman. A high value woman is somebody that holds her affections close. She doesn't just give it away to just any guy that comes along. And I think that also has to do with her self esteem. She has healthy boundaries in place. She knows what she needs and what she wants.
Mhm.
Um, let's see, what else? I think a high value woman honors and respects masculine men, and she treats other people respectfully. She doesn't think she's better than others. She knows that I'm no worse, no better than other people. and some of this can go for the men too. I think a high value man, he has integrity, he keeps his word,
Mhm.
he is his most authentic self. He has some emotional intelligence, what meaning he can engage with his feelings. He doesn't, most men, because they've been taught not to show emotions, they dismiss their emotions.
Right.
But I think a healthy, high value man can express and engage in his emotions and can manage his emotions and can help a woman engage in her emotions, and he can engage with her. A high value man isn't threatened by a strong woman, a competent woman, a feminine woman, but he honors that. And I think a high value man
Mhm.
will respect a woman's boundaries.
Should we train ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to be ready to every day, like to hold and go into their relationship? And how do we keep the healthy sparkle going on all the time in a relationship?
Yeah. I think we all there's valleys and mountains, in every relationship. We have our highs and our lows. And I think gaining an understanding, like, don't ever stop learning, don't ever stop growing
Mhm.
personally. Be willing to, you know, ask your partner, what are my blind spots? Is there something that you see that I don't see?
Okay.
And talk about those things. I know early on in our marriage, my husband and I, we talked about everything. Like, we were just so honest. And even, 6 months, a year after, dating, and even after marriage, we'd say, so if you could change anything about me, what would it be? Like, what is it that you like best about me? What irritates you? Like, we would talk about those things honestly and in love.
Mhm.
And, of course, when you're first dating, it's like, oh, nothing, you're perfect. But then you get married and you find out, oh, they're not so perfect.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
I think just continuing to learn, if you, whatever your faith is, really learning about your faith and what it is you believe spiritually, taking that time out to go to church or listen online to sermons being preached, read your Bible, read books about the Bible. I I'm a reader, so I like to learn. I'm always taking in information. And I think there's so much good stuff right now, even on social media,
Yeah.
coming from therapists and counselors and people, that have, are successful in their relationships, in their business, in the business world. Get a mentor and learn from them. Look at people that you respect. Who do you respect and who do you admire? And learn from them. If they're authors or they're doing something that they're in a place where you want to be, where you want to go, watch those people and learn from them. Um, I think physically, keeping yourself healthy physically is really important. I know for my husband and I, he came from an physically unhealthy background. His father was obese. His father died at a young age of heart disease. And my husband was an athlete. I was very into health and fitness. And I said, don't ever get like that. I said, that's a deal breaker for me. I said, I want you to always take care of yourself. And I promise to always take care of myself. And we both committed to that we're always going to exercise. We're going to have activities together that are, physical activities to keep us healthy. We're going to eat right. And, to the best of our ability, learn about what your body needs. And we both agreed to that. And we have stayed with that. Both of us work out every day.
Mhm.
Um, so I think, we need to take care of ourselves, our mind, body, and our souls, and our souls, that's our mind, our will, and our emotions. That's what the soul embraces: our mind, our will, and emotions. So whatever you need to do to keep your mind healthy,
Mhm.
think healthfully, think right, um, keep your body in shape, mind, body, and emotions.
Yeah.
And what your emotional needs are, make sure you're getting your emotional needs met, your physical needs. And that doesn't mean relying just on your partner.
Uh-huh.
One person can't meet your every need.
Right.
So I have friends that I go on ski trips with because my husband, quit skiing because his knees couldn't take it anymore. But he's like, yeah, go ahead, go with your girlfriends. I have
Mhm.
friends that I work out with. I have friends I play pickleball with. There's certain things that he can't do physically. And so but he doesn't hold me back from doing that. We give each other our freedom to do the things we love. Um, we check in with each other, always be checking in. Women go through so many different emotions in a month because of hormones, right?
Right.
And I think if men um, learn about that maybe one day she's great and the next day she's just a witch, and you're like, what happened? What did I do wrong? And it might have nothing to do with the man, but it's her hormones and her time of the month, or she's menopausal or post, like women have a lot to deal with emotionally because of
Right.
hormones. It's not even our fault.
Oh, by the way,
So
did you have this possibility maybe to count how many times our behaviors and emotions are changing during the 28 day period?
yeah, I just interviewed Dr. Patrick Flynn on
Uh-huh.
I think it was last week's podcast. He's written a book called I Still Disagree. It's coming out in April. Everybody should read that book. It's so good. And the way he writes, he's funny, and he simplifies
Mhm.
men and women's hormones. He talks about men's testosterone, that it's an aggressive hormone. Don't be mad at men because they're aggressive. It's their hormones. Don't be mad at them that they're so single focused. It's a good thing for us. Don't be mad at them that they're chasing you around for sex because it's part of their hormonal makeup, And he says that women are not ever emotionally stable, which I thought was hilarious. And I said, tell us about that. And he said, because of our hormones within the month, from
Uh-huh.
one week to the next, we're different women. He goes, when a man marries a woman, he marries 4 different women. So
That's
I think,
correct.
just understanding, educating ourselves about the human body, human behavior
Mhm.
would make the biggest difference for people. Just don't be naive, get educated.
Well,
I
that is
think
true
that's
because
the
so
key.
many men, I've learned that so many men are just pulling back because of the different behaviors women have. And
Yeah, men are terrified of them.
exactly. What it is that if a man truly knew what women wanted, they would have a happier and healthier relationship.
But see, women change what they want all the time. So men can't keep up. They'll say, I
Okay.
feel like I just learned the combination to her. And then right when I get it, she switches it. She switches the combination. And the same stuff that made her happy last week isn't making her happy this week. So
Okay.
I think, and I put a lot of the onus on women because we're hormonal and because we kind of flip flop and go up and down. And so I think that, I think a lot of times that's why men just back off. It's like, my God, no matter what I do, I can't make her happy.
Right.
And I think women need to not look to men for their happiness, and they need to find the balance, within themselves. And,
Right.
I remember when I was hormonal, now I'm postmenopausal, but back in the day, I
Mhm.
had really bad PMS. It runs in my family. My sister had it bad. My mom had it bad. And I was not fun to be around that time of
Okay.
the month. And my husband would say he'd come home and he could just feel the vibe in the house
Okay.
when it was my time of the month. And he'd be like, oh my God, like walking on eggshells. And I remember saying, and then I would feel so bad. Like
Uh-huh.
once I got through it, I'd go, oh my God, I can't believe I was acting like that because I don't feel that way at all now. And don't be afraid to apologize, ladies. And I would always say, when my husband did not react to me, like I could be really naggy or grouchy, when he didn't respond or react to that, he just stayed steady. It's
Mhm.
like we would be fine. But when he would come back at me, that's when we would go at it. And I remember saying, like, Steve, when you know it's that time of the month or the few days before, just don't react. Just like, I know I'm going off and I will apologize later. But I go, if you don't react, we'll be fine. Because you just understand it's not even the real me right now. I'm just responding to my wacky hormones. And so, and when he could just stay steady, we'd be great. But but there were times where he'd be tired and I would say something and it'd cause him to feel disrespected and he'd come back at me, for it. So I think, again, just having some grace for one another, for
Okay.
our bodies, for our
Okay.
biology. I think that's very helpful in any relationship.
I do you think we often try to, in a relationship, we often try to change the other person? And it's not like
Yeah.
only the women, but also I've learned
Yeah.
and I've experienced that men often want to change their women for the picture they have in their head.
Right, right. Yeah, I think it does go both ways. I think more often it's women wanting to change men,
Okay.
and because we want them to do things the way a woman would do it because we think that's the right way. That's
Okay.
not how you load the dishwasher. That's not how you say goodnight to the kids. That's not how you make the lunch for the kids. That's not how you give them a bath. I think women need to take a step back, and as long as the dishwasher gets loaded and dishes get done, who cares? Who cares? Like, is that the hill you want to die on? You know what I mean? I think we get too picky about certain ways. Now, it could be a man who's super perfectionistic, and he could be putting that on the woman. Like, I don't like the way you clean the house, or it's never clean enough, or that kind of thing. So if you want something done a certain way,
Mhm.
you do it, male or female. If you want it done a certain way, you be the one to do it. And like I heard one man say, you can't ask me to do something and tell me how to do it. It's one or the other. So if you ask him to do something, let him do it his way and be
Mhm.
happy with that. Just the fact that he did it might
Right.
not be exactly up to par to your standard, but he folded the clothes, he folded the laundry. Who cares if it's not perfectly done? So I think we both need to just kind of relax. People aren't perfect. Um, and we need to accept people where they're at, not where we wish they were at. And that's everybody's flawed, everybody's imperfect. So I think if we can get to that place where we accept our partners for who they are, and if they're not who you want them to be,
Mhm.
don't before marriage,
Uh-huh.
don't marry them.
Right.
If they're doing something that just is so irritating that you think I got to change that behavior, I can't live with that. Don't go into marriage thinking you're going to change the behavior. Back out and say I can't live with that, and then decide what are you willing. Because like one of the myths is don't settle.
Mhm.
Well, I always tell people everybody settles. Everybody settles because
Right.
there's no perfect human out there. So my husband is not perfect, and I had to settle in some areas that I knew he was imperfect, but he's perfect for me. But he's
Mhm.
not a perfect man. I am not a perfect woman. But we have to all decide where we're willing to settle
Mhm.
and where we will never settle. And again, that comes back to boundaries, deal breakers, non
Right.
negotiable. Like there might be some behavior that, maybe you don't like the way they chew or they take a drink of water or something. It's like, is that important? Can I live with it? Yeah, I can live with it. Or he snores, okay, well, I'm going to put in earplugs. I'll sleep in the other room. I mean, you make it work.
Right.
But,
Well,
and the only time people will change is if they personally see the need for them to change and they want to change. But they're not going to change just because you want them to. They have to want to change. And yes, they can make changes.
mhm.
Absolutely.
Well, that's very, very important. But still, I have so many women coming to me for coaching. And well, I am a passion coach, but we also seek feminine energy and we speak about feminine. Why do you think, and I hear it from a woman, why do you think so many women settle, commit, and marry the wrong man and they know it's a wrong man?
You think they know that before they marry him, though?
That's what they say now. I
Oh,
I
I
knew
knew
it's
before I
not
got married.
him. I knew
Well,
it's not him, but I still did it. Do you think they, well, I always ask them, I just wanted to ask you
I
if
think
mhm,
I think it's one of two things, might be more.
mhm,
If their biological clocks are ticking.
mhm.
Did you ever see
Oh,
the balloons?
oh,
Where'd
I
that come?
did, but I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
did that?
No,
Oh,
I didn't do this.
I was like,
No, but there,
so from
I saw the balloons. I thought it was you. I know
no, I
that
don't
some of social
know.
media has, well, I'm gonna erase
Maybe.
that, but some of the social media has when you do the thumbs, the
Oh.
it's
Oh yeah,
supposed to show up.
they're fireworks.
But
That's
I
so
have no idea about the balloon, about
that
the
was cute.
maybe like
That's
that.
interesting. Uh,
No. Oh, see?
oh,
Confetti.
see, yours is doing it. I
Yeah.
know. I think women that don't want to wait because they're afraid that their time clock, their biological clock is ticking and they want a family.
Okay.
So they maybe will
Okay.
marry a man thinking it's not really the right one, but at least I'm going to be able to make a family, and he'll change. I think they'll go into it thinking they can change him and to make them the perfect man for them. And now, and so the ones who are saying, I knew it wasn't the right one, was it because they wanted to have kids and they had to hurry up? Do you
Okay.
think? Or I think, which, and, a lot of times men will say they're not ready to get married. And, and I think for a man to be ready, certain
Mhm.
things have to be in place for him. And for
Okay.
every man, it's different, because
Mhm.
I get women all the time saying, well, I'm ready, but he's not ready. And we've been dating for this long.
Mhm.
What's going to make him ready for marriage? And I will tell women, ask him what needs to be in place for him to be ready. It could be his education, or maybe he wants to buy a house, or maybe he wants to start a business, or maybe he needs this much in the bank, or maybe he needs to get out of debt, whatever it is. And then for the woman, you get to decide,
Mhm.
are you willing to support him in getting those things for
Yeah.
him to be ready?
Okay.
Now, some women may say no, because that's going to take him 10 years and I don't have that much time. I won't be able to have babies.
Mhm.
And so I'm not. And so that's your notice that, okay, it's time to move on. So,
Okay.
so that for a woman, you get to decide what you're willing to support him in doing, and find out what he needs to be in place if you haven't asked that question, and then keep your mouth shut and listen carefully.
Right. Right. Exactly. Do you think the age also has something to do with it? That they marry the wrong
Uh,
man.
Depending on the woman, some women, I've heard women say, well, I want to be married by 25, or I don't want to get married till 25, so for some women, age might have something to do with it. And again, if because they want to make babies, but women have reproductive limits.
Right.
And we know we have a little window between 30 and 40, and if that window starts to get, closed, it's like, okay, I gotta make this work. So at
Mhm.
times women will settle for a man that they know may not be the man for them, but they'll have babies. And then there's times where women will do that and they find out he's a wonderful man. And
Mhm.
they're totally happy that they
Mhm.
settled for this guy and they have a family together.
Do you think when when people after dating they commit to each other, they are either engaged, is it okay for them? Do they because I understand we are all wounded, some kind, we
Right.
do have some kind of wounds from our childhood and from our experiences. Do you think it's okay for the couple who commits to each other to go together, get therapy? Like a
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. That'd be great. Yeah. Yeah. Go together or individually. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know
No,
I know some
I was thinking about like going together. If this is okay for them to go together, do you think men will be willing? I mean, because I understand also it depends on our consciousness and how aware we are of our wants and
Mhm,
it's what we
mhm.
have in ourselves. But
I get it. It depends on the couple, but if they're both willing and they feel like they're committed, they're engaged, they're going into marriage, there
Mhm.
still might be some areas that they want to dive into and go a little bit deeper with, then I think that would be a very smart thing to do, is go to therapy, either individually or together, whatever you think. There's some therapists that won't take the couple together. They want to do them individually. So I think it just depends on what you want, and then to find the right therapist for your needs. Yeah, I think that's a great thing to do. Why not? Yeah.
Do you think it is okay for both men and women to be in contact with their ex-partners? I mean, to write
Okay.
if they are in a new relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So if they have children together with their exes,
Yeah,
okay, so they were married before, they're going to have to be in contact.
of
If
course.
they're both sharing the children, of course.
Right. Except of
Yes.
that. Mhm,
Ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, what I believe is, if once you are in a committed relationship,
mhm,
if you're still in contact with the ex, or let's say the woman has good guy friends. Okay,
mhm,
maybe they weren't even an ex, but really good, you know, guy friends. that guy needs to become friends with both you and your
Okay.
fiance or your husband. Like he's now both of your friends. Like when you send a text, all three of you are on that thread.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Just to keep everything on the up and up. Um, and I think same for the man. If he has other girls in his life that he has dated, if he's going to stay in contact with them, she becomes his wife's friend also. Like where you're all friends. It's not just you and her. I don't think it's ever wise for a man, a husband or a wife to talk to the opposite sex about your marital issues. Because
Okay.
it, let's say wife, the woman is at work and there's the boss or a coworker who's a male
Mhm.
and she's having trouble at home and she starts talking about her issues to her guy friend
Right.
because there can be a transference of affection there. And that guy, probably most people can't stay objective. He's going to take your side, right? Against your husband. And I know for my husband and I will never talk to somebody that
Mhm.
can't help me, number one. And I won't talk to somebody that I know will take up my defense
Mhm.
and make him the villain. I need to somebody who's going to be objective and tell me that maybe I'm in the wrong. Okay. I don't want to talk to someone who's just going to tickle my ears. But I think it's really dangerous for a man to go talk to another lady about his marital issues.
Mhm.
I think unless she's a licensed, therapist or pastor or coach,
Mhm.
then I think, that can be objective, but not just to his ex-girlfriend or his female friend at work. I just think that's dangerous. Yeah.
It is. Do you think it? Yeah, I think it's not necessarily respectful to the current
Yeah.
relationship if we keep contact with our exes.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your plans for the near future?
Well, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. My son, who produces my podcast and stuff, he says he has a master strategy. What he thinks that I probably will write a book. That scares
Oh,
me,
this
but
is my next question. I really wanted to ask you. I really wanted
yeah,
to ask you, when are you going to write the book?
we'll see. We'll see. And then, and we are thinking about maybe doing some retreat type things for couples.
Mhm.
I'll probably start doing my seminars again, putting them online.
Mhm.
But I don't know yet. I don't know exactly what
Okay.
he has in mind, and I'm kind of letting him run the show because he's much better at this stuff than I am. I have the information, but he has this how to yeah. He
Was he
runs all my
so since he has all planned, was he mentioning the conferences for the couples, for women, for men?
yeah. Yeah, we thought that might be a fun thing to do.
I would
Yeah.
love to
Yeah.
participate.
Yeah. Yeah. And we might do just for women only or for men only, just depending. So we'll see.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
coming here, for accepting my invitation. I am so honored and blessed that you came here. And I thank God
Thank
that
you.
he really that you're really responding to the messages, to the people who are writing to you. And I am like really, really honored and happy that I could ask you all of that questions. And I really hope that you will come back one more day, one
Yeah.
day.
Sure. Yeah, we could do it again. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it was fun. Thank you. I'm honored and privileged that you would even have me. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. We'll see you
All
next
right.
time.
Thank you. See
Okay.
you next time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.